Hi everyone! So today we're going to be learning about healthy eating. Does anyone remember what they had for lunch today? And do you think you had a healthy lunch? So the first thing we're going to learn about today is the food pyramid. Does anyone here know what the food pyramid is? So the food pyramid shows us all the different types of food in a healthy diet that we should be eating every day and how much of it we should eat. There are 5 main food groups in the pyramid and we're going to explain all of them to you today. So the first food group is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are foods like pasta, potatoes, bagels, and bread. Can you guys say the word carbohydrates back to me? Good job, everyone! So why do we even need carbohydrates? Well, carbohydrates are foods that give us energy, they help us stay alert and awake throughout the day, and they help us stay active and run around. The second food group we're going to learn about is fruits and vegetables. These are foods like carrots, apples, and grapes. So why do we need fruits and vegetables? Well, fruits and vegetables give us vitamins and minerals which help our body work properly. There's lots of different types of vitamins and minerals, so to get them all, we need to eat lots and lots of fruits and vegetables. Can you guys say vitamins and minerals back to me? Great job, everyone! Does anyone know how many fruits and vegetables we're meant to eat every day? It's 5! Well done! So the next food group I'm going to teach you about is protein. Protein is found in foods like fish, chicken, beef, and eggs, even chickpeas, lentils, and beans. So why do we need proteins? Well, proteins are really important to make your muscles go really nice and strong.
The fourth food group we're going to learn about is dairy. Dairy is found in things like milk, cheese, yogurt, and butter. So why do we need dairy? Well, dairy contains calcium, which helps keep our bones strong and also helps us grow taller. And the last food group we're going to learn about is sugar. Sugar is found in all of the sweet desserts, so things like cake, candies, chocolate, and donuts. Although I know we all love fatty or sugary foods like burgers and fries and candies, our body doesn't actually need that much fat and sugars. In fact, eating too much will make us really unhealthy. So it's important that we eat less of this food group. Right, okay, so now let's have a quiz to see how much you guys remember from this session. First question. Which food group do you think an apple belongs to? Raise your hand if you think it's in the fat group. Okay, hands down. Raise your hand if you think it belongs to the fruit group. Hands down. And lastly, raise your hand if you think it's a protein. And the correct answer is fruit. An apple is an example of a fruit. So well done if you got that right. Next question. Which food group does pasta belong to? Raise your hand if you think it's a carbohydrate. Okay, now raise your hand if you think it's dairy. And lastly, raise your hand if you think it's protein. And the correct answer is carbohydrate. Well done. Third question. Which food group do we think yogurt belongs to? Hands up if you think it's a carbohydrate. Hands up for dairy. And hands up for protein. And you are correct if you said the answer was dairy. So yogurt is an example of a milk product which belongs in the dairy group. Fourth question. Which food group does cake belong to? Raise your hand if you think it's protein. Raise your hand if you think it's dairy. And last but not least, raise your hand if you think it's sugar. And the correct answer is sugar. So good job if you got that right.
Fifth question. Which food group do you think fish fingers belongs to? Raise your hand if you think it's protein. Raise your hand if you think it's fruit. And raise your hand if you think it's fat. And the correct answer is protein. Well done if you got that right. Sixth question. Which food group do you think cheese belongs to? Raise your hand if you think it's fruit. Raise your hand if you think it's dairy. And raise your hand if you think it's sugar. And the correct answer is dairy. Well done if you got that right. Seventh question. Which food group do you think carrots belong to? Raise your hand if you think it's vegetables. Raise your hand if you think it's protein. And raise your hand if you think it's carbohydrates. And the answer is vegetables. Remember, we need to eat 5 fruit and vegetables every day. Next question. Which food group do you think lemonade belongs to? Raise your hand if you think it's vegetable. Raise your hand if you think it's sugar. And raise your hand if you think it's protein. And the right answer is sugar. Next question. Which food group does rice belong to? Raise your hand if you think it's fruit. Raise your hand if you think it's carbohydrate. And raise your hand if you think it's protein. And the correct answer is carbohydrate. Well done if you got that right. Last question. Which food group do you think lentils belong to? Raise your hand if you think it's fat. Raise your hand if you think it's sugar. And raise your hand if you think it's protein. And the answer is protein. Well done if you got that right. So, tell me, what have you learned today? I hope everyone enjoyed learning all about healthy eating. Thank you.